Hello viewers, welcome to HCC Coding channel. In our previous video, we have covered part 1 conventions. We have seen about alphabetical index, tabular list, NEC and NOS, seventh character, different things we have covered in part 1 conventions. Today we are going to discuss about the part 2 conventions. What are left in conventions we are going to cover today. That thing is exclude notes, etiology and manifestation, code first convention, and convention, with convention, C and C also convention, use additional code, code also convention, and default codes. These are the remaining part of the conventions where we will see one by one in detail today. I mean, the first one, what is exclude notes? We are having a definition here. The term exclude refers to certain coding guidelines that help clarify when a specific code cannot be used together with another code. In a simple terms, this excludes will give a clarity where a specific code cannot be used together with another code, or where a specific code can be used together with another code. We will be having different types of excludes. Exclude 1 and exclude 2. We will see what is mean by exclude 1. Exclude 1 definition: a patient should not have both conditions at the same time. The two conditions described in the codes are mutually exclusive. Example: type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. In a simple terms, I can tell you this: exclude 1 means two conditions cannot be coded together. Means two conditions, whatever the provider is documenting, that cannot be present for a same patient at a time. Like, I took a best example of type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, where a patient will not have either neither the patient will be having a type 1 diabetes nor type 2 diabetes, but two conditions the patient should not have, or the patient will not have these two specifications together. So we'll see how I can find out this particular exclude 1. Where I can find out this, I'll tell you. Like, exclude 1 concept I can find in our tabular list. I'll show you why I am telling like these two conditions cannot be captured together. We'll see that. Yes, I have told you like we will be seeing the exclude 1 example, right? See here, what is the main code we are having? Type 2 diabetes mellitus. Under this type 2 diabetes mellitus, we will be having a convention called exclude 1 convention. I'll be showing that. Exclude 1 convention. In this exclude 1 convention, we are having type 1 diabetes mellitus. You can able to see this point, I hope so. So type 1 diabetes mellitus cannot be captured with the type 2 diabetes mellitus. Not only type 1, whatever the conditions they have documented under exclude 1, we are not supposed to capture with the main code type 2 diabetes mellitus. This is what explaining about the exclude 1 convention. Now we'll see what is mean by exclude 2 convention. The condition described by the code can occur with the other condition, but it is not included in the code. In other words, it is not inherently part of the condition, but if both conditions are present, they should be coded separately. What example, what they are telling in this particular definition? Two conditions, whatever mentioned by a provider, those two conditions can be coded together. This is nothing but exclude 2 convention. And what example they have documented? Glanzmann's disease and von Willebrand disease. I'll be showing this example in our ICD-10-CM manual. Yes, I have shown you the example of exclude 2, right? There, I have shown you like a Glanzmann's disease. You can see, like under D69.1, we are having like the main term they have mentioned in a different way. Qualitative platelet defects. It is also known as Glanzmann's disease. All these are alternative names of Glanzmann's disease.
So under D69.1, we are having exclude 2 conventions. Able to see this, I hope so. Von Willebrand disease means if the patient is having Glanzmann's disease and von Willebrand disease, you can capture both the conditions together. That is not a contradiction, or that is not a conflicting statements. D69.1 and D68.00 can be captured together because it is present in exclude 2 convention. The same way you can see the exclude 1 convention also here. Like if the patient is having qualitative platelet defects and hemolytic uremic syndrome, these two conditions cannot be captured together because it is mentioned in the exclude 1 convention. So in each, under each and every condition, we will be having a exclude 1 note and exclude 2 note. By seeing this, we will be identifying whether these two conditions can be coded together or cannot be captured together. Easily we can identify by seeing these two conventions under the main term.
Next, we are going to see the etiology and the manifestation. We'll see what is meant by etiology and manifestation. First thing, etiology. Etiology is also termed as cause. Etiology refers to the underlying cause or origin of a disease or condition. In medical coding, the etiology is the primary condition responsible for the patient health issues. In a simple way, etiology it is nothing but cause. Like if we are having an example here, patient has neuropathy due to diabetes. The patient got a complication called a neuropathy due to diabetes. The cause is or the origin is diabetes. So this is nothing but etiology. Due to diabetes, the patient got a neuropathy. So diabetes will act as a cause and the neuropathy will act as a complication, and we'll be calling it as a etiology, or we'll be calling it as a cause, or we'll be calling it as a primary condition, or you can call it also as a origin of a disease. Next, we'll see the manifestation. Manifestation, it is nothing but effect, or we can call it as a complication. In definition, manifestation refers to the complications that result from the primary condition. Manifestations are often the outward signs of a disease or its complication. We'll see the example. Patient has CKD due to diabetes. I have already discussed about the etiology. Due to diabetes, patient developed a condition called CKD. CKD, it is nothing but a complication or a health issue developed from a origin primary condition. This is about the manifestation. In simple terms, we'll be calling it as a complication getting from a primary condition. This is about the manifestation. And we are having one more point. Etiology or manifestation pairs often require two separate codes where the etiology is listed first and the manifestation is second. They are talking about the sequence part. When etiology and manifestation codes need to be captured, etiology code should be captured first when compared to the manifestation, or etiology code should be captured first and manifestation should be captured at second in place. Next, we are having a convention called Code First Convention. What is this Code First? We'll see. Code First instruction appears in the ICD-10-CM coding guidelines for certain conditions that have a known cause, etiology, and effect. We'll be calling it as a manifestation relationship. The convention tells the coder the underlying cause should be coded first and the manifestation should be coded the second. In a simple terms, we will be finding this code first convention in our tabular list. By seeing that code first convention, we need to identify that this should be captured along with the main code, and that should be captured in sequence first. That is what they are explaining about the code first convention. And I have given an example of coronary atherosclerosis due to lipid rich plaque. I'll show you this example in ICD-10-CM manual.
So this is the example of code first convention. I have given a coronary atherosclerosis due to lipid rich plaque. Under this you can see a convention called code first convention. What they are mentioning along with this main code, this is the code, these are the codes we have to assign first in sequence, then after we have to give the code. And code first is a mandatory convention where these codes need to be given. Whatever the codes mentioned in code first, these codes need to be mentioned along with the main code. This is about the example of code first convention.
And next we are having and convention. What is meant by this and convention? The word and interpreted to mean either and or when it appears in the title. And the term cannot be described as a linkage term. Example, diabetes and hypertension. If they are giving in such a way and is not a linkage term, the patient is having both diabetes and hypertension. So I have captured both separately. In a simple terms, and will not act as a linkage term. It will be indicating that the patient is having a two different conditions. Next, we are having a with convention. Under with convention, we are having a definition. The with convention is used to link a primary condition with its secondary manifestation or complication. It is typically used in the coding of conditions where one condition leads to or coexist with another. The word with in the diagnosis or code description suggests a combination of related conditions that should be captured within a single code rather than coding them separately. In simple terms, with the convention will act as a linkage term. Here we are having an example, diabetes with the neuropathy. If neuropathy is a different condition, diabetes is a different condition. But in between these two, there is a term called with, where it will be acting as a linkage term for these two conditions. So what we have to give, we have, instead of giving the two codes separately, we have to give the combination code. That is the term with the convention. With the convention will act as a linkage term where that will be combining the two conditions and will be giving the combination code. Next we are having C and C also convention. First we'll see the C convention. The C convention is used to direct the coder to a different section or category in the ICD-10-CM codebook when there will be find a more specific code or alternative diagnosis that may be more appropriate for the condition being coded. It essentially means look here for further guidance or to find a more accurate or specific diagnosis. In a simple terms, I can tell you C convention is the mandatory convention where, like if you are leading, for example, if you are having Alzheimer's, if we are seeing directly the Alzheimer's word, we will not get a code. It will instruct you to see in a different way to get an accurate code or to get an appropriate code. I'll show you this particular C convention example.
So now you can see the example of C convention. Here we are having Alzheimer's disease. Able to see this? Alzheimer's disease or sclerosis. Do we have a code beside an Alzheimer's? No, we are not having a code beside Alzheimer's, but we are having an instruction. What is that instruction? C instruction. C disease. Under disease we need to find out the word Alzheimer's. This is the term they are explaining here. We can see this, right? This is a mandatory thing where under disease we have to search for the Alzheimer's, then only we will be getting a code. We'll see that whether we'll get a code or not. So now I came under disease. I have searched the disease part. In the third column you can see the word disease. Yes, under disease I'm searching for the word called Alzheimer's. Able to find out, I hope so. Under Alzheimer's, what we are having? We are having a code. Yes, so if you are finding Directly, if you are searching directly a word Alzheimer's, you are not getting a code, but it is instructing you to see under disease. Under that you are seeing Alzheimer's, then you are getting a code G30.9 and F02.80. This is how, or this is a proper way to see or to find out the code.
Next, we are having see also convention. See also convention provides additional code options for coders to consider when a condition could have various possible codes or requires a deeper search. In a simple terms, what we have seen, C means it is a mandatory instruction to lead only in that particular way. C also means it is not a mandatory. If you are leading in a different way also, you'll be getting a code, and it will be showing an alternative way also. In an alternative way also, if you are leading, you will be getting the same code. Simple terms, C also means it will be showing an alternative way. It will be showing an alternative way to find out the code. This is nothing but C also convention. I have given here the example of Caesars. We'll see that in our ICD-10-CM manual.
Now coming to Caesars, I have led a Caesars code, and here we are having a convention, see also convulsions, and we will be getting the same code. We'll find out that beside a Caesar we are having R56.9, and it is also showing us see also convulsions. You will be getting the same code. This is the meaning of see also word. We'll find out whether beside the convulsions also we are having the same code or not. If you are seeing the word convulsions, you can see that word convulsions, I hope so. Convulsions, what they have mentioned, the code, the same code they have documented, it is nothing but R56.9. In a simple way, the say also convention will give you an alternative ways to lead a code.
Next, we are having use additional code convention. Under this definition, the use additional code instruction typically appears in the tabular list, the main section of the ICD-10-CM codebook. For condition that requires an extra code to fully describe the patient diagnosis. What they are mentioning, this is a use additional code which will be fully describing the patient diagnosis. Where you can find only in the tabular list, and I have given an example of DM or diabetes with CKD stage 2. I'll be showing this like diabetes with the CKD stage 2, how this particular combination will give the use additional code convention example. I'll be showing that.
Here I have mentioned like type 2 diabetes mellitus with diabetic chronic kidney disease. I have shown the same example. Under the main term, you are having a convention called use additional code to identify the stage of chronic kidney disease. Means along with this main code, you have to give the additional code of chronic kidney disease. Whatever the stage they are mentioning, according to that you have to choose a code from chronic kidney disease. If I am mentioning chronic kidney disease stage 1 will be having a different code, chronic kidney disease stage 2 will be having a different code, like the same way. Whatever the term they are mentioning, diabetes with chronic kidney disease, then we will be giving the main code. Along with the main code, we will be giving an additional code of the chronic kidney disease. This is nothing but use additional code convention.
Next, we are seeing code also convention. When you see code also note in the ICD-10-CM code description, you should use the primary code for the main diagnosis and then code the other condition indicated by the code also instruction. The two codes are often not directly linked to each other but are both important for fully describing the patient's diagnosis. Code also convention is a mandatory convention. If you are finding in your tabular list under main code, if you are finding a term called code also convention, you have to capture the same code It means you have to capture the code, whatever they have mentioned in code also convention along with the main code. Here I have given an example of end stage heart failure. We'll see this example, end stage heart failure example, we'll see in our ICD-10-CM manual.
See, under end stage heart failure, we are having a convention called code also. The type of heart failure has systolic or diastolic or combined if known, and they have given some series of codes. Means along with the end stage of heart failure, we need to document the whether based on the documentation or based on the provider's documentation, we need to capture whether it is a systolic code or diastolic heart failure or combined heart failure. We have to capture, they are describing it like not only under end stage heart failure, under different main terms you'll be finding the code also convention, where it will be indicating or where it will be instructing you. Along with this main code, you have to capture these additional codes also. This is about the code also convention.
Next, we are having default codes. A code listed next to a main term in the ICD-10-CM alphabetical index is referred to as a default code. The default codes are typically unspecified codes or codes that are used when the diagnosis is not fully documented or unknown. In a simple terms, default codes means without any specification, whatever the conditions we are specifying. Like for example, if I am mentioning diabetes code, it is nothing but without a specification. If I am indicating it has diabetic neuropathy, there is a difference between diabetic neuropathy and diabetes. Diabetes is without a specification. Diabetic neuropathy means it is with a specification. This default codes are nothing but without a specification. If you are leading a term diabetes, whatever the code you are getting next beside that particular diabetes, that we will be calling it as a default codes. I'll be showing this example in our ICD-10-CM manual.
Now here, diabetes. I have laid a diabetes code, and beside diabetes, I got a code called E11.9. This is a default code. Directly I am getting beside a word called diabetes. Now if I am mentioning a diabetic cataract, if I am mentioning diabetic cataract, this is a specification and we are having a different code 11.36. Means under diabetes I am finding the specification, not directly beside the diabetes. Whatever the code you are getting directly beside the main term, that calls under or that falls under default codes. If you are leading any code under the main term, then we'll be calling it as a specifications. Beside the main term, we'll be calling it as a unspecified codes or default codes without any specifications.
Thank you. For more updates or for more interesting videos, please like, share, subscribe to our medical coding channel. Thank you.